You're listening to the Wanderlusting Wives podcast, your podcast for escaping life's monotony, indulging in your wildest travel fantasies, and discovering the constant beauty of this ever-changing world.
Welcome to Travel Tuesday. Today we welcome you to Season 2 with some of our favorite travel stories and a glimpse of what to expect this season.
Welcome to the Wanderlusting Wives podcast. We're your navigators, Allison
And Regan. And today we are launching Season 2 of Wanderlusting Wives. We are so excited for everything that this season is bound to bring, all of the memories we're going to share together, the conversations we're going to have, the guests we're going to meet, the stories we're going to hear, just everything about it. We are so excited to take you along with this journey. And if you're here for the first time, we just kind of want to give you an overview of what to expect this year. And even if you are a returning listener, maybe, and thank you to you for your loyalty. We are so appreciative. We're going to be doing things a little bit differently this year. We've got a couple different segments that we're going to be looking at. But every other Tuesday, you're going to be able to hear a Travel Tuesdays episode. And what we mean with our Travel Tuesdays episode is that we're going to stay with those same kind of words that are going to propel our conversation. And those words, just as last year, were escape, indulge, and discover. And we're going to be using those words to guide our stories. And we're really focusing on storytelling this year because travel is kind of travel goes right alongside with stories. That's why we travel a lot of times, is to make those memories and to be able to tell the stories. So escape, indulge, discover. That's what we're going to use to guide our conversations.
Yeah, so what we mean by escape is, where did you go to? How is it different from your everyday life? Did you go somewhere out of the country? Did you stay in your state and maybe you had a different experience the next town over? It could be a wide range of experiences, and we want to highlight where that person went to and how is it different from their everyday life.
Yeah, and that's going to be the basis of our podcast, that escape. And then we move to indulge. And what do we mean by that? We mean that you can sit right at your home and think about the beauty of the world. Like literally, you can just sit and close your eyes and think about where you could go. Just dream a little bit with us. And we want you to indulge in your wildest travel fantasies. What did you do that you never thought you'd have the opportunity to? Who were you with that just made that trip so much better? Did you splurge on something special for yourself? What did you do that made your travel dreams come true?
Then that leaves us to our last one, discover. So, what did you learn from that experience? Did you learn that you don't like flying JetBlue and you'll never go on their airline again? Did you learn that you love Spanish food or that it's really hard to learn French? So, we want to take away what this guest has learned from their experiences, maybe the good, maybe the bad, a little bit of both, and how that maybe has change their perspective on life or different experiences and what value that they can add to you as the listener listening to our podcast.
Yeah, and what we really want to do with this is we want to make this relatable, like not everybody has traveled the world for their entire life, and that's okay. What we want to inspire you to do is to maybe take that next step towards an adventure, or maybe just take a second for yourself and dream. Honestly, that's what we do. That's what we're doing on this podcast, and we want to take you along on that journey. So what Allie said about how we're going to be kind of bringing guests to share their stories. And so you're going to hear from us, of course, your navigators. We're really excited to continue chatting with all of you. But really, we want this to be an opportunity for people to share the stories that otherwise they might not tell as much, stories that mean a lot to them, that travel has sparked inspiration or discovery or just an escape from everyday life. Life can be really chaotic. And so we want to bring guests in to tell those stories as well, not just hearing from us all the time. But we will have opportunities to hear from us every other Wednesday, and we'll get into more of what that might mean later on in this episode. We'll make sure you have that information. So, guests, how do you get involved with us? How do we get in touch with you? All of that. Well, we have a big announcement, and with the launch of season 2 here, we are also launching the Wanderlusting Wives website, and we're really excited about it. There's going to be some really great opportunities to connect with us, and we're going to have some information about us and our travels, maybe our suggestions, past episodes, really easy links to listen to us. And then we're going to continue growing and building it out as our podcast evolves and as we get a larger community going here. So you can find our website, write it down, put it in your search bar right now and bookmark it, www.wanderlustingwives.wixsite, and that's wixsite.com/travel. So you can find us there. Go check us out. We're really excited to connect with you.
I am stoked about this. This has been a labor of love. It is a step out of our comfort zone a bit to put together this website. So we hope that you enjoy it just as much as we have enjoyed putting it together. And we hope that you will check us out because we want to hear from you, suggestions from guests. Maybe you have a fun story that you want to share with us, and we would love to have you on our podcast. So get involved by going to our website. You can also email us at wanderlustingwives@gmail.com. We check that regularly. Also, our social media Instagram at Wanderlusting Wives. The Facebook is Wanderlusting Wives Podcast. And then Twitter is Wanderlust Wives. And you're definitely going to want to be following us because we have a giveaway coming up. We are stoked about this. Lots of fun things to kick off season 2 as a thank you for all of you who are joining us again for a second season or to welcome the new people here that are listening for the first time. We hope that you will love this giveaway. If you love travel, you are going to love this. There are lots of good goodies, maybe some gift cards you might see, or maybe a travel journal. Don't want to give away too much, but we hope that you check us out on social media where we will be giving you more information about that giveaway.
I see what you did there about not wanting to give away too much.
Yeah, give away too much for the giveaway.
Y'all, it's okay. We're not as punny all the time. So yeah, that's a little bit about what to expect this year. And again, we're just really grateful that you're here for the journey, and we hope that you get something out of this, even if it's just a moment for yourself. Like I said, like we all need that self-care routine. And if we're part of your self-care routine, that's the best feeling for us. If you get something out of this podcast that just helps you escape, indulge, discover, job well done for us. We're really excited. So, like we said, we're going to have guests on for most episodes to kind of do this storytelling kind of format. But for this episode, we just kind of wanted to give you a taste of what that might look like. So, Allie and I are going to take this one on and be our own guests on our podcast today and kind of do that angle of escape, indulge, discover. So, you can kind of get a sense of what we're looking at for this next season for our Travel Tuesdays. So, I'm going to get us started off with I was proposed to in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. My husband proposed. We were in our senior year of college, so it was like, whoa, this is happening. So much happening. That's such a pivotal point in life, and it was incredible. It was magical. But Myrtle Beach is, of course, it's a beach city. It's right on the ocean on the Atlantic coast, and we always stay at a place called Ocean Lakes, and that is a community of rental homes, like vacation rental homes, and there's a campground, but they have a lot of really great activities for families. So that's why we always love to go there with a family of people spanning from the ages of 1 year to 65 years old. So it has something for everyone, and we really love going back to there every year. And one year, my family decided to get the stomach bug, and that was a lot of fun that we kind of passed it around, and that was lots of fun, as you can imagine. It culminated with me sleeping next to the toilet of a Red Roof Inn hotel room. So that was a lot of fun. Never staying at Red Roof Inn ever again. So did get something out of it. Also, I tried kombucha for the first time that trip, and please let me know how to drink kombucha correctly because I can't seem to like it. Anyways, I I digress. But so Myrtle Beach became kind of this place where we just went every year as a family. And that year in particular, Nolan, my now husband, was flying in but we all had the stomach bug. So, as everyone around us was getting sick, it was our job to take care of my niece and nephew. And they were, I think, like 3 and 5 at the time. And so we were like, what are we doing with a 3 and 5 year old? So we made them scrambled eggs. We put on frozen and they were loving that. But eventually they got sick too. And later I found out that in that moment of chaos is when Nolan realized that he wanted to be with me for the rest of his life. That, like, he saw me as this person who could take care of other people. And for him, that was the moment. So Myrtle Beach became a really special place for us. Jump to a year later, and Nolan, again, it's around Christmas time that we were there at Myrtle Beach in a different house. And yeah, because we were never going back to the sick house, as we called it. Nolan was going to be flying in to meet us. And we drove to Charleston Airport to get him. And from the minute that he got off the plane and got in the car, there was something weird about him. Like, if you know my husband, he is a goofy guy. He's very goofy, very silly, tells the worst dad jokes, and I love him for it. But he was just extra silly and kind of extra off. And I was like, okay, what's happening? Like, of course, I didn't expect anything, but I was like, okay, something's weird. So we drive the 2.5 hours back to Myrtle Beach. And he gets up to the house and everyone's like, yay, hi, how are you? And he disappears with my mother, which, okay, suspicious, to a different room in the house. And my mom comes back and very frantically, she's like, okay, everyone, we're doing a scavenger hunt right now. Right now, we're going to go on our golf carts and do a photo scavenger hunt, and it's going to be great. So we're all like, okay, put down everything. We're doing a scavenger hunt. Had no idea why. And each couple in my family had a list of clues that we were following. And with every clue, at the end, you got a word. And in the end, all of those words came together to make a sentence. And so we're going all over in our golf carts around the community, gathering our clues, and it led us to the beach. And in the end, my brother and sister-in-law said, just watch Little Sister Beach. Okay, that's not proper grammar, but okay, we'll forgive it. Mine said, your team must stay together. Foreshadowing. We get to the beach. We're all digging in the sand to find our final clue, and mine happened to be a notebook that Nolan and I had gotten in college to write down our adventures in. And I opened it up, and there on the page it said, will you marry me? And I turned around and he was on one knee. My family's all around. My brother-in-law's clue had led to something to do with take out your camera and film the ocean or something. And so we have a video of that. All the clues kind of came together to make this really beautiful proposal. And that to this day is going to be one of the most special places of my life, because not only was it the place that Nolan decided that I was who he wanted to spend the rest of his life with, but also that's where he proposed. And it was just incredibly special. The proposal video is hilarious because my niece and nephew have no clue what's going on. They're like, where'd my shovel go? Because of course they want to just be digging on the beach. But yeah, that was an incredible story that came out of travel that I will never forget.
I always love this story because it is the ultimate Stacy proposal. Like, let's do a scavenger hunt. And then there's like a little bit of chaos with the grandkids. And then like your dad and brother are all emotional. And it's just like perfectly
Yeah.
sums up the Stacy's like in one video and event is Regan's proposal. It's just, yeah, if I
It's
had to
true.
say, if someone was like, what are the Stacys like? I'd be like, watch this video and you will know exactly what their family is like in this short little clip here. It's a great story and one that I will always remember you calling and telling me that you were engaged. My mom be like, have you heard from Regan yet? I'm like, no, why would I hear from Regan right now? But she knew what was going on and I didn't, but eventually I
Uh,
heard from you and now here you are. What is
yeah.
it? What are you guys heading into? Like your fourth year of marriage already?
Yeah, it's insane.
Wow. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Time is
Yeah,
flying.
yeah.
Well, my story is not as romantic, but still a little thrilling. As you know, if you've been around for a little bit, I talked all about my trip to Bolivia in our 8th episode of season 1. So go check that out if you want a more in depth um, listen of my trip. But the one that I really want to talk about is the time that I ate cow tongue. Okay, so
Mm.
if you know me at all, you know that I basically survive off of children's food like chicken nuggets, mac and cheese. I'm not really adventurous. I'm getting better now that I'm matured. I'm an adult now, but still quite picky. But for me to even eat cow tongue is just insane. The fact that I even saw it on my plate looking like a tongue and then decided to put it in my mouth still blows my mind, but I will spare you the details. Essentially, to give you some background, I was in Bolivia in 2018 for 2 weeks. I was doing a service learning project through my university, and I was staying with a host family. And they really just totally brought me in and made me feel like family from the very beginning. And I went to the market with my host dad, and we would go out to spend time with my host brother. And our host mom would come home from work and cook for us. And I also had the opportunity to go to the celebration of one of their cousins' baptism. So this is where I tried cow's tongue. There was a whole celebration, and there was even a birthday party at this celebration as well. And they went all out. It was like this huge white tent. There was tons of people there, and it was a buffet. And I was in front of my host family. I was going first, and they're like, "Oh, you should really try this." And I was thinking, "Oh, okay, kind of just looks like beef, nothing too crazy." And then I pull it out a little bit more from the serving dish, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, this looks like a tongue." And then I come to find out it is a cow's tongue, and I feel obligated because I don't want to be rude. So I'm trying their food to try to immerse myself in the culture. And I ate probably like half of it. It wasn't large. I will say maybe 2 inches. Okay. So I
That's a
ate like
lot.
maybe like an inch of it. Okay, that's not that much.
Oh
It
my
wasn't
gosh.
it wasn't thick either. It was just like this thin slab of meat, and I ate about half of it, and it surprisingly tasted not what you would not like what you would expect. It tasted just like beef, which I know is kind of cliched if you try something in another culture, like, oh, it tastes just like chicken. But it really did like taste just like beef, which is kind of messed up considering it's a cow's tongue. But it did. It tastes just like that. And it's safe to say I will not be eating again, but I'm proud of myself for putting myself out and trying new things, especially new food, because I am not adventurous when it comes to trying new foods. So that is my
So Allie
story.
learned that she doesn't like cow tongue. She really
Right.
discovered that.
I probably already would have known that have I not had this experience, but, I was all in. But if you wanna learn more about my trip to Bolivia, we have the whole episode all about that. It's our 8th episode in season 1.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a really great episode too because it's a South American country, which we haven't had a lot of experience with South American countries, but Allie did in Bolivia, and that was like an incredible listen. Just definitely go listen to it. She had an amazing experience. So yeah, Allie, you indulged in cow tongue, and you really went all out and splurged on that, and you discovered that it's. I'm kind of disappointed actually that you said it was actually okay.
Okay, I'm not, like, eager to ever have it again, so I'll give it, like, out of 10, I'll give it, like, 4 stars.
Oh, okay, okay, 4 stars, we got it. Alright,
Yeah.
now I'm
So
interested, I feel like I can,
it's not like I look at it and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, that's repulsive," but I don't look at it and like, that's delicious. I loved when I ate that before. I can't wait to eat it again."
okay, alright, 4 out of 10 stars, we got that.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Well, we do have a few more stories for you from our trip to Iceland, and if you wanna hear more about those trips, you can go back and listen to episodes, I think 4 and 5 of season 1, and we had a great time. Go listen to those, but we do have a few good stories from that trip.
We love Iceland. In case you're new here, we obsess over it all the time and are dying to get back, but we will not say too much about our love for Iceland. We will just highlight our favorite stories because I'm sure we will confess our love for Iceland a lot more throughout this season. So we'll save that for the other episodes. But we want to share some of our most memorable experiences from Iceland. And one of those is the time we got a flat tire. So I was with Regan's family, just her parents, and then Regan. And if you've been to Iceland before, you know the road's going to be a little bit sketchy, like no guardrails. You're going up a hill, it's pretty tight, narrow. There might be sheep just chilling on the side of the road too, so you're fighting for space with the sheep. But we are just driving along, enjoying the scenery, having the time of our lives, probably listening to some musicals, and all of a sudden we're like, oh crap, I think we have a flat tire. And we get out of the car and we definitely have a flat tire. And thankfully, we only packed backpacks for all four of us. So we didn't have a ton of stuff to take out of our car, but we had to empty our car. We're on like a top of a mountain and there's no shoulder to pull over on. So we're just hoping and praying that no one else comes along because we're just here. And Regan's dad is changing the flat tire because there is like no help for probably, would you say, like at least 30 minutes, maybe. So we had to
The other
drive.
side of the mountain.
Yeah, we had to drive to the other side of the mountain on a donut, which was a little bit stressful. And thankfully, we did find a tire shop that was able to get us in right away and fix our tire. But just be prepared if you're going to be renting a car in another country. Like, think about stuff like that happening. Like, know who you should contact, or if you don't know how to change a tire, like, know the number, know maybe where the next service stop is going to be, because this is just the reality. Not every trip you go on is going to be glamorous. There's going to be bumps along the road. So, thankfully, we were able to get to safety and to get the tire fixed right away, but that was crazy.
Yeah, that was insane. Like, literally, we mean on the other side of the mountain. We got a flat tire and then had to go across the mountain again. Rocks, all like, yeah, it was insane. Also in Iceland, we met Freymar. And let me just paint the scene for you. So we're sitting in this teeny tiny little Icelandic town. I don't entirely remember what it was called, but we were getting dinner. And it was such a small town that we started joking about, hey, we're staying with this guy named Freymar. And from the picture in his Airbnb profile, he looked like this middle aged bald guy. So we're like, I wonder, since it's a small town, if he's here right now or if anybody else would know him. And we were completely joking. We get up from the table, we go to pay, and all of a sudden from behind, we hear someone say in this deep voice, I think you're staying with me tonight.
How creepy. Like, looking back on that, like, how creepy.
Yeah. And we turn
Was he about
around
to steal us? Yeah.
and there he is. He's not a middle aged bald man, but it's like picture in a rom com when there's like some kind of like, I don't know, jazzy music playing and it just like scans up from the feet of like a really attractive person until you get to his face and it's just like flippy blonde hair and blue eyes and everything. Well, that was Freymar. It was like out of a rom-com. And immediately Allie and I are like, whoa, okay, he is
Yeah,
definitely not a middle-aged man.
he was surprising. I always like to think of, like, when you're watching a movie and there's the lifeguard, like, slowly running up the beach with, like, his little red whatever that thing is to save people and just, like, slowly running, and his hair is wet and flying around. I'm like,
Yes.
"That's Neymar."
Yeah, it was hilarious. And we literally we said then also because we found out later that he is like a rescue, like an emergency rescue volunteer person, and we were like, oh, let's go get lost so that Freymar will come rescue us.
Good old Kramer, and he thought it was hilarious to give your dad, like, coffee or tea or something in a Trump mug that he had
Mhm.
because obviously we're Americans, and he just thought it was the funniest thing. I'm like, "Ha ha, real funny." And that about wraps up our examples and travel stories that we wanted to share with you in our first episode of season 2. But before we completely end the episode here, we have a fun little announcement. So, we're going to have Travel Tuesdays, which is going to be posted every other Tuesday, just like we did in season 1. We're going to stick with Tuesday mornings and every other week. But in between those weeks, we're going to have something called Wildcard Wednesdays. And we're super excited about this new segment. And we're going to continue to post under the Wanderlusting Wives. And we want to highlight escaping, inspiring, and discovering. So it's going to be more like a lifestyle podcast. We might talk a little bit of travel, but we're going to try to save all of our travel for Travel Tuesdays. And we want to share that with you every other Wednesday. Do you have anything to add to that, Regan?
No, yeah, I think that's pretty much it. We just really wanted to create a space for us to be relatable humans. Because there's so much that can be used to escape other than travel. And travel for us is a really big escape, so we want to dedicate time to that, and that's going to be our Travel Tuesdays. But those Wildcard Wednesdays, we want to just literally talk about other things that could be escapes, whether it's a random topic that we're just talking about. And then we're going to also talk about do some self-reflection too and promote self-love and things like that, and how we can just be human and appreciate the little things in this world, including travel, but not limited to travel. So yeah, that's episode 1 of season 2. Thank you so much for being here. We can't wait to go through this year with you. We have so much planned. Thank you for listening, and we'll catch you next week for our first Wildcard Wednesday, and 2 weeks from today for our next Travel Tuesday. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for tuning in to the Wanderlusting Wives podcast. Come escape with us again every other Tuesday for Travel Tuesdays and every other Wednesday for Wildcard Wednesdays.
Don't forget to give us a subscribe and a follow on all of our social media and wherever you listen to your podcasts. And until next time, wander on.